Well, folks, I got to be honest. I was planning on taking today and tomorrow and the next few days off. I thought, it's finally going to be a chance for me to take a few days off and max and relax a little bit and do those sorts of things. And then last night, the most shocking interview comes out from the Tattooed Chef CEO, Sam Galletti, on Forbes. And when I first started seeing this circulated out there, I was like, this can't be real. Like, there's somebody, people like to troll in regards to Tattooed Chef. So I was like, this has got to be a troll situation here. Like, that can't be real. And then I started reading through this Forbes article, and there's multiple shocking things that get revealed in this Forbes article that I was like, what? What are we talking about here? This is nuts, okay? And so I'm going to share that with you guys, and I'm going to share my perspective, my opinion on all this as somebody that's been an investor in this company and just been absolutely brutalized. I mean, absolutely brutalized in this stock. I couldn't believe it. Literally, I can't believe some of this stuff. So thank you, everybody that's joining me on Christmas Eve. And if you're watching this tomorrow, Christmas Day, Merry Christmas to you. And for everybody that doesn't celebrate, it's probably just a normal day for you. So you're like, what's the big deal? Okay. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. Okay. According to its CEO, profit is driving the potential departure. Like many alternative protein companies, Tattooed Chef is struggling. Yeah, we know that. As CEO Salvatore, Sam Galletti told me, quote, "We have an obligation to our shareholders." Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, Sam. We haven't felt too good. Okay, our shareholders, we're struggling out here. Okay, we will reverse our losses as aggressively as anyone has ever seen, he says. Whoa, okay, that's the first big shocking piece. This isn't even the most shocking thing that came out of this Forbes interview. This is shocking in itself. We will reverse our losses as aggressively as anyone has ever seen. That's a massive, epic statement, okay? Now, here's how I feel about this, okay? I feel like, somebody that's had a boyfriend and that boyfriend cheated on me, and then he's like, I'm not going to cheat on you. And then he goes and cheats again. And then you're like, I'm not going to cheat on you. And you're like, okay. And he cheats on you again, okay? And this feels like one of those situations where I'm just like, come on, man. Like, are we serious about this? Like, show me, prove it. I'm not getting hyped about this. I'm not getting excited about this. It is interesting to read, but I'll consider it when I see it. When I see the numbers, if I see the EPS improving in a massive way, cash flow improving in a massive way, and getting close to at least a break even as 2023 goes along, okay, I'll accept it then, but not right now, okay? The losses have been way worse than the company said they were going to be. They're way worse than any of us investors expected. It's been extraordinary. Like, I feel like I put money into a charity, essentially. Like, I should have put $1 million plus in a charity, because at least the money probably would have been spent better, right? I mean, this company seems like they're just giving away product. It's amazing. I can't believe, like, how much money they've blown through this year and how bad margins really got, right? And so that's a big statement. For him to say something that, it wasn't like, we're going to try to make progress toward, break even or something like that. Like the way he put that was borderline shocking, in my opinion. We will reverse our losses as aggressively as anyone has ever seen. It's a super confident statement. I will say that. Super, super confident. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see. We've been let down time and time again with this company. We're going to hit this number. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And we haven't seen it yet. So will we see this? We'll see, okay? 2023 is a big year for this company. It's the biggest year. It's a make or break year. This company's either going under in 2023, or they'll make it out to the other side. They'll get to break even and then to cash flow positive, and then it'll be up and away from there. But this is a make or break year. And I mean a make or break year from, like, they're going to zero, or they're going back to $5, $10 or something like that and getting out of the gulag of the under $5 stocks, right? That was just part of it, okay? This next part's even more shocking. And this is a part that I was like, people must be trolling, because I started seeing this circulated on different social medias and whatnot. And I was like, this has got to be trolling. Like, this can't actually be real, right? I was like, somebody must have photoshopped something or here. No, this is for real. Tattooed Chef, a pioneer of plant-based foods, considers the unthinkable. And it has this massive piece of meat here. I was like, what are we talking about here, man? In a blow to the meatless meat industry, the publicly traded food company says real meat may get added to new line of products to be to boost profits. What? Wow. Potentially adding meats to some of the different products? That to me was very surprising. Now, it's not It's shocking. Okay, I will say it's shocking. I can't deny it and say that's not shocking. But what I will say is Tattooed Chef's never been a vegan company. If you've always, eaten their products or looked at their products, like they'll still use things like cheese in their products, like real cheese, not like that vegan cheese that's just, ugh, okay? And so they'll use real products like that. But the one line they've never crossed is actually using like real chicken or real steak or anything like that. They've never done that, right? And so the fact that the company's considering that, I think is very, very telling. Before he took his company public, Tattooed Chef CEO Salvatore Samgaletti told investors his goal was providing great tasting plant-based products to the growing group of consumers who seek to adopt a more eco-friendly and health-conscious lifestyle. Tattooed Chef, not without reason, calls itself a leading plant-based food company. Absolutely. But the plant-based bubble popped this year, and Tattooed Chef, which went public in October 2020 with a $1.7 billion market cap, has lost nearly half its value in just the past year. Way over that, man. Way over that, just so we're clear about that. Searching for ways to lift itself out of the hole, the company is considering something that was once unthinkable, selling meat. What in the flippin' flapjacking world? It opens up a lot more avenues and a lot more doors, Galetti tells Forbes. The interest in plant-based has slowed, but the demand for food itself is as great as ever. Okay, that's interesting. So, clearly Sam Galetti is basically saying the plant-based industry has slowed massively, right? And I have a lot of reasons why I believe this is. And I'll share those reasons a little later on in this video. But it's telling that this company's in survival mode. Let's be very clear about that. And when you get into the gulag, you're in survival mode as a company, right? And it's either you're going to be broken in the gulag and you're never coming back, or you're going to, get your way out, right? And so definitely Sam Galetti, most of his net worth, it seems, is tied up in Tattooed Chef stock, right? And so he's going to do everything possible to get this company through, right? Which is obviously, hopefully, getting the place to, the company to a place where their cash flow at least break even, and then hopefully positive, right? If it means selling meat products, like it doesn't matter. When you're in survival mode as a company, you're going to do what it takes to survive. No different than if you're a human and you're in the middle of a forest lost, right? You're going to do whatever it takes to survive, okay? If that means you got to catch fish in a river with your bare hands, you're going to do it because you're trying to survive, right? And so it definitely shows that the company's in survival mode, which they have to be in survival mode at this point in time. If you look at the cash flow situation, the balance sheet situation, it's survival mode right now. And it's do anything possible to kind of make it, right? And so that's intriguing. As we go on here, it's a blow to the plant-based food industry, which launched a few years ago with high hopes of serving customers interested in better health and a slowdown in the climate change. In the past year or so, shoppers seem to prefer grandma's meatloaf to meatless meat. And now lingers a question to whether it's just a temporary bump in the road for plant-based food or a larger wipeout of the entire business model. I think this year has been a screwed up year on a lot of fronts, right? And I think the whole inflationary issues have definitely hurt consumers. And let's just be honest with ourselves, okay? The fact is, if you want to eat a lot of plant-based items, it is more expensive. It's a fact, okay? If I can get a burger at Burger King, like a regular burger, right? And it's much cheaper than if I get an Impossible Whopper, let's say, for instance, right? If I, go to some, vegan restaurant, it's usually more expensive than a similar option that if it's not vegan. That's just a fact, right? And if you even look at Tattooed Chef items, most, like you go to Target, a Tattooed Chef bowl is $5 roughly, right? You can get meat options of, let's say, different frozen meals, right? For many times $2, $3, maybe $4. So if the consumer's really hurt, sometimes people make sacrifices, right? And sometimes it's to their health, right? And as somebody that was, came up very, very, let's just call it poor, right? I started on jobs making $7.50 an hour, $8.25 an hour, right? Those are my first jobs on the come up. And even when I was working at Quick Trip, started making $40,000, $50,000 a year, I used to make sacrifices to my health all the time. I used to eat crap food that was cheap. If that meant Taco Bell, if that meant, taquitos at Quick Trip or whatever, and whatever crap is in those, at the end of the day, if you pay really low prices for food, generally speaking, especially like all this processed crap that is basically what you have options to out there, right? You're usually sacrificing your health. That's just a fact, right? But people like to eat cheap, or sometimes they have to eat cheap. Like they don't have an option, right? And if you don't have the money to pay up for better quality or something like that, like you're stuck with kind of what you got there, right? And so that's just something that's some food for thought there, right? Sometimes it's cheaper to get a bag of chips than it is to, get a fruit bowl or something like that. At the heart of Tattoo Chef's problem was going public and having to answer to Wall Street investors rather than growing at its own pace as a closely held company. The company was profitable when it went private. When it was private. Its vegan acai bowls, I think I finally pronounced it right, acai bowls, I used to call them acai bowls, I believe they're acai bowls, okay? And cauliflower-based pizza crusts were sold at 4,000 locations, mostly club stores like Walmart and Costco. After a reverse merger, put it on the stock exchange, Tattoo Chef launched into supermarket chains like Kroger and Safeway. That costs a lot of money, and though Tattoo Chef has increased its distribution 5-fold to some 20,000 stores in just 2 years, which I know this company's been, a joke in terms of its profitability and cash flows, but I will say that's impressive, like how much they've grown revenue and store count over that time. I don't think there's another food company who's been able to accomplish that. The move siphoned significant cash for grocery store marketing, slotting fees, and other trade expenses. Quote, I've never had the ability to be able to lose money as a privately held business, Galletti says. Wall Street said, don't worry about losing money. Just worry about growing your brand. Now the whole world changed and it's all about being profitable, right? Which is a very strange situation. I will say for Sam Galletti to stick up for him in this situation because obviously, it was all about if you run a private business, it's all about profits, like flat out, right? The only people that are focused on just like growth at any cost and who cares how much you lose money are usually venture capital based companies, right? And the stock market when it's in some sort of euphoric state of just growth, right? When interest rates are at zero or something like that, right? And so Sam obviously took this company public in that hype cycle, right? In that time period where it's just about revenue growth. And so he's like, okay, it's all about revenue growth, grow, maximum. Who cares if we lose money, right? And then all of a sudden the market switched like that, a snap of fingers overnight. And the Fed obviously raised rates as aggressively as we've ever seen in literally history in terms of percentage growth. We've never seen it like this, right? And so next thing you know, it's all about profits. And it's like, wait, I thought we were talking about like revenue growth. Now all of a sudden it's about net income. Whoa, okay. We switched that fast, okay? And so, and he's not the only CEO that's obviously been caught off in this situation. I mean, there's a lot of them, right? And so nonetheless, that is what it is now at this point in time, right? In 2020, the firm had $23 million in gross profits on revenue of $148 million. In the past 12 months, gross profit fell to $5 million on revenue of $237 million. Tattoo Chef isn't just looking at meat to help its profit woes. The firm is also looking to streamline and cut costs and considering other, more profitable products outside of the frozen food aisle, like protein bars, chips, and refrigerated tortillas, which they all, hopefully are coming in 2023, but it seems like a lot of those products have been slow to get out there, which has been very disappointing, right? Meat increases the price of a product, depends, and also helps drive the bottom line, says Galletti, on the profitability of meat. It is something that we need to consider, right? So, there's a reason that everybody always, kind of puts meat out there. It's not necessarily because everybody wants meat. And that's somebody that's gone, vegan over the past year. I want to say full vegan. I'm like 90 to 95% vegan. I can tell you, I don't miss meat at all in terms of like meat. I do miss certain things that I'll describe in just a moment, but it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have a piece of steak. And as somebody that grew up eating meat with pretty much every lunch, every dinner, oh my gosh, I just need a piece of chicken breast in my mouth. Oh gosh, okay. Give me a pork shoulder. I just need a pork shoulder. Like, no, okay. And I can tell you, as most people I've known that have either experimented with a veganish or kind of more plant-based diet, right? Or have gone fully that way, almost none of them say, oh gosh, I just miss the taste of meat in my mouth. Like, come on, man. Like I haven't met anybody that's ever said that, to be quite frank. It's other things that they miss in regards to that, right? And so the reason I think, meat is always just kind of pushed out there is because of its profitability. And so that's why nothing really changes there and why people look past a lot of other things, right? The company started off in 2017 and claims that it has always had more of a flexitarian ethos than anything, making vegetarian, vegan, and non-GMO foods. But public documents and its 2021 national TV advertising campaign boldly led with plant-based marketing. Most plant-based meat companies have been struggling in the past year, especially when it comes to cash flow. Basically, since Tattooed Chef's plant-based products have not been generating enough, it could make sense to temporarily pivot, keep the lights on, and wait for the market to come back stronger. But that would risk alienating its loyal customers. Maybe not. Okay, like I said, like Tattooed Chef's never been necessarily a vegan company, so there might be some people that if they had some sort of meat products, I'd be like, no, I'm not eating Tattooed Chef. I'm boycotting Tattooed Chef. I don't know. Okay, I don't think it's as big of a number as maybe folks are thinking in regards to this. This gentleman from Mizuho, right? Quote, if it's still not working and they have to come out with animal protein, it contradicts the core principles of these companies. Does it turn off part of the market because they're not considering pure anymore or committed to the cause of plant-based? Maybe, he says. Yeah, I think it's definitely a potential, but I don't think it's as big of a deal, right? Tattooed Chef, which claims it's the second fastest growing brand on Instacart this year, also makes products for private label brands and retailers such as Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and Aldi, although that business has been shrinking massively. The products, in terms of their Trader Joe's, kind of Whole Foods business, the products have never before included meat. Galletti says if there is a line that does get green light, the protein the firm sources will still have to be unique at the highest level of protein. Interesting, which sounds expensive, okay, just to be quite frank. We've ridden the coattails of some of the other competitors, he says. We're riding the wave. The whole sector has gotten very depressed in the past several months. Is plant-based something here for good? Is it going through a pause? Does it have legs? Our opinion is if it does, but it's definitely, or our opinion is it does, but it's definitely pausing, right? So that's interesting in regards to that, just kind of the whole meat subject, right? Now, in regards to the plant-based food stocks, there's three main ones. Let's be honest. They're not the only three, but these are the three main plant-based food stocks. Beyond Meat obviously came public, and, it was a very exciting story when they first came public and very exciting numbers, and unfortunately, the company is just a massive letdown. Tattooed Chef and Oatly, more unknown than obviously a Beyond Meat, but they've also been huge letdowns. And let me be clear about Tattooed Chef and Oatly. Neither of those companies have revenue problems. And that's the thing, like sometimes I think folks are almost trying to say it's like a revenue issue at either Tattooed Chef and Oatly. No. Oatly, we're talking about a company that's, somewhere around roughly 10 figures of revenue, right? 10 figures. And for Tattooed Chef, we're talking a multi-9-figure revenue company. That's not the issue. Revenue is not the issue. It's profitability. And it's something that's hard to figure out with these companies because it's like, how could they be losing so much money? And like that is something that even baffles me. Like, how could the margins be that bad when their products definitely don't seem like they're the most expensive products? Like this product sells at Target for $4.99, so maybe Tattooed Chef sells it for $3.25 to Target or something like that. Who knows? Maybe $3.50. I don't know, somewhere in there, right? And it's cauliflower, which is not an expensive thing. Cauliflower with like a cheese sauce, and I love those things. But is that really that expensive to make that? I feel like the margins should be phenomenal. Look at something like the Veggie Hempel, and like you just run through the ingredients. The packaging is pretty simple. It's kind of like, geez, like are the margins really that bad? Is the profitability really that bad? It just is very surprising. I guess that's the best way of putting it. Very surprising that they've had such problems with margin, right? Now, the one other thing I'll say about the kind of the plant-based food movement and those sorts of things that I think needs to be said, because I think a lot of people are trying to figure out like, is a trend dead? Will it come back? And those sorts of things. As somebody that's been on this wave for the past year or so, right? What I miss, and when I talk to other folks that have experimented with vegan, plant-based diets or have done it for a long time, is there's a big gap still in like unhealthy vegan foods. Because the thing is, if people go more plant-based or vegan or flexitarian or whatever, right? People still like to eat unhealthy sometimes. They want to eat some crap food, okay? No different than people like to eat cookies and cake and pie and all this stuff, right? And so the biggest gap I've seen out there personally is these unhealthy, like having a vegan unhealthy options, okay? And there was a place I went to when I was in the fall time when I was in Atlanta, and it was this place called Slutty Vegan. It's super popular, super cool place, and it's all vegan food, but they make like unhealthy vegan food, essentially, right? Which is something that's, I think, needed in the marketplace in a massive, massive way. Because the fact is, we all like to eat some unhealthy food and be bad sometimes, right? Since I went vegan, I've definitely noticed, and like I said, I'm not vegan fully. I'm like 90%, 95%, right? I've definitely noticed like improvements. I lost weight. I don't know if I necessarily feel better. I probably feel the same. I have more endurance, so like I can run longer. I can like box longer. I can do more push-ups, things like that, maybe a little stronger. But it's not like it's necessarily like insane overwhelming. But the one thing I miss is like unhealthy type of foods, right? And if I drive around Vegas, there's a McDonald's in every other corner. There's a Chick-fil-A on every other corner, right? There's a Raising Cane's on every other corner here in Vegas. There's all these different options, but none of them, In-N-Out Burger, but none of them are like have vegan really options, to be quite frank, right? And so like for the vegan movement to really take things up to the next level, you need a lot more like unhealthy vegan options, just to be quite frank. Vegan food prepared in a way that is easy, is fast food related, right? Because sometimes people are looking at okay, I got a McDonald's over here, I got a Taco Bell over here, I got a Del Taco over here, I got an In-N-Out Burger over here, a Chick-fil-A and a Raising Cane's. None of those places are vegan places. So I have no option there, right? There's not even an option. And so I think that's one of the things that's preventing the plant-based food movement to take things up to the next level, is kind of having more fast food options, more like cheat meal type things, right? Because at the end of the day, like it's not, fried chicken's good, not because of the chicken, okay? It's because of that coating that goes all over it. Let's be very clear about that. If Chick-fil-A and Raising Cane's was just selling, pieces of cooked chicken, believe me, they wouldn't be busy and they would have went out of business a long time ago. It's so good because that coating they put all over it, okay? That's why those places grew so big. And those companies don't really have any incentive to go plant-based, because why would they? Like their whole success, their whole brands have been wrapped in, obviously, their products that made them successful. So why would they switch unless they're absolutely forced to switch? It doesn't make sense, right? So it has to be like new competitors, like the Slutty Vegan place I kind of showed you there, right? That have to be that next kind of growth factor for this industry. And so anyways, the whole industry is in a tough place. I don't think, in my opinion, I think if Tattooed Chef has any sort of meat options, I don't think it's a game changer for the company either way. I'll just be honest. I don't think it's a game changer either way. And I think personally that this company just has to focus on profitability of the products. And if they have any SKUs that aren't moving enough, get rid of those SKUs over this next few months. Get rid of those out of stores. And if it means less revenue in the short term, but better profitability, that's all that we care about as Tattooed Chef shareholders, is surviving 2023 to make it out to 2024 and have a chance to then grow the company from there. 2023 is about survival. And so that's all we care about right now. It's about surviving this next year, getting through it, and getting to a place where we can at least, have a chance at some profits and some positive net income in 2024 and moving in future years. So anyways, that's my opinion on that whole subject, man. Crazy. Anyways, Christmas Eve video. Appreciate you guys joining me. It's super loyal, super dedicated to join me on a video like this on holidays. Much love as always. Appreciate y'all. I need to turn on the Christmas tree, and have a great day.